Welcome to Wisco Dice. Hey yo folks, it's your host, Conesy with the most. It's Ben. I'm here for another episode, episode 2. Hey, we've actually made 2 episodes now of What Has Conesy Got Recently. So it's been 2 weeks, and part of that was I never really committed to being a weekly show or a bi-weekly show or whatever. Just kind of, hey, what have I been buying lately? It kind of show, just to kind of go over all the stuff I keep buying and hopefully someday be able to review and go over with you folks. So it's been a couple of weeks. Part of that was because we had Blood in the Sun and expect some coverage for that, hopefully on the podcast, on the main podcast sometime soon. There's tons of pictures. If you didn't see for Blood in the Sun, I took tons of pictures of lots of people's armies. I'm sure I didn't get everybody's, but I got a lot of pictures of a lot of armies and games and all sorts of fun that was happening at this year's Blood in the Sun 5. That's in Schaumburg. You can just go to www.bloodinthesun.com to check out the tournament and all the information about it. They talk a lot about it on the Garage Hammer podcast as well, so you can catch lots of information about it. Great Warhammer Fantasy GT, just in the north Chicago area, the north suburbia of Chicago. So, yeah, can't say enough about it. 5 years I've been to all of them, and I was there this last weekend, so I didn't get a chance to even have an opportunity to be in front of the camera with that being said. So, I've got a pile of stuff over here. I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the board game stuff that I've purchased recently. So I'm going to start first with an expansion. This is an expansion to a great worker placement game. It's Stone Age. It's a great theme, great art. As you can tell by just the box art, I've only opened the box. I'm going to do an actual, I'm trying to get time to do an actual unboxing of both this and a full review of the board game with expansion. This is Stone Age. It's a great worker placement game. It's great for players who are just getting, you've gotten them into your board game group. You're looking to get them into something with a little more depth, but they're not ready for an Agricola or Terra Mystica, one of those more hardcore Euros. This is a nice in between. It's nice because it's got dice. The expansion is really nice because it adds a little bit of an extra mechanic. It makes the tiles a little more interesting and opens it up to being a 5-player game, which is 5 players is a lot of times a nice place to kind of fit. It's a great play. The base game is a great 3-player game. It's great as a 4-player game. It's great as a 5-player game. It works in all of those setups. Usually about an hour and a half, even if they add all those extra players. It really doesn't add that much more time. It's usually pretty quick. So great game. Recommend it. And the expansion, it's not necessarily a requirement if you don't need it, if your average board game group is 4, but it's pretty fun if you like the game and you're needing something to expand, being able to need to have another game that's on the table that you can get up to 5 players. That's a great one. Next game, Brewcrafters, the travel card game. I don't know a lot about this. I've never played it, but I've played the Brewcrafters, the actual board game, and that was tons of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And if you hadn't remembered from the main podcast, I'm a home brewer. I like to brew beer. I like to drink beer. I'm in Wisconsin. Playing a board travel game that looks like it has some cards that you're going to use, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be one of those nice, quick kind of filler games. You can't have enough of those, those kind of 20, 30-minute games. I'm hoping that's about it. It says the play time is about 30 minutes. It's 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up. Obviously, I think brew crafting and brewing beer, you make sure if you're doing this with kids, you as an adult, you're making sure you're educating them correctly about drinking beer. Next game. This came a bit from a different podcast recommendation. I don't know if this was the variant of this. I understand there's multiple different versions of this set in the same world. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe I just got the wrong game. But it's another one of those filler games for 1 to 4 players. No, it's 1-player game, so I can just play this by myself if I like. But 1 to 4 players, 30-minute time play. Still with the shrink wrap, so I haven't even opened it up yet. But I'm hoping it's another one of those great filler games. I find that more often than not, little filler games like this that take 20-30 minutes get played more often than some of the games I truly love, like a Terra Mystica or Descent or Battlestar Galactica, because of their longer play times. You just have to kind of you have to plan your being able to play it. And then what happens when you're done, especially on a big board game day? Hey, we finally wrapped up with our big game. Maybe we're playing Zolkin or something like that, which took about an hour and a half, and they're on the table over. They're on a 2.5 hour game. Well, you need something to fill. That's what these filler games are for, and that's why they get played more. Okay, that's all the board game action I've got. I've got a little bit of Drop Zone Commander. You can remember from the last episode I had a lot of Drop Zone Commander, so I've only gotten just a little bit of extra stuff. I really haven't gotten a chance to play with any of it. I ended up having to cancel. I had a scheduled game. Was going to play a 999 little Clash game, 999 points Clash game, but I had to cancel it, so I'm trying to get that rescheduled for hopefully this week. So hopefully there'll be more Drop Zone Commander thoughts coming to this to the podcast or this video feed at some point, this YouTube channel. But this is just the Scourge Corsairs. These are basically they're fighter jets for intercepting, enemy aircraft. So you really can't use those until you start playing 1,000 points or bigger games, anyways. But I figured I'd start planning, since my scores are already at like 1,000, 1,500 points, somewhere in there, depending on how I kit the list. This is probably a good thing to start thinking about having, so when I get into those bigger games, I can start having that for enemy aircraft. Okay. Bolt action. Got a couple of things for bolt action. So today I got a chance to go to Black Dog Hobby and Games in Rockford. It's a pretty nice little game store. They really seem to focus and are doing very well selling miniatures. So they have a pretty good bolt action following there, and it's about an hour from Madison, so it's a nice little drive. I picked up an actual United States Army from a guy that was already painted and stuff. I'm going to use that for demos, so I didn't really put that out here to show off or anything like that. But I needed the rules for the United States, so I got myself the Armies of the United States rule book, which gives me lots of cool pictures and all of the rules for all of the units that I can use in bolt action for that game. So that's going to be, like I said, I'm not really. Brian does the United States. I don't want to step on his toes, and I'm really not interested in playing them myself. But for demos, like we're going to be doing at GameholeCon this year, if you hadn't heard, GameholeCon, I'm going to be doing. There's going to be one. There'll be a bolt action tournament. That's going to be run by Mr. Brian Ward, and he's huge to the bolt action community. He's a great guy. I've played him a couple of times. Had just laughs and lots of fun playing him. But with that, after the tournament, we're going to be doing a Battle of Hyrcan Forest, which is near the tail end of the war. It's one of the longest battles between the U.S. and German forces. Really, it doesn't seem like it gets nearly as much story or fame as a lot of the other battles, but it was a very long engagement, and it's going to be. We're going to set this up so that you don't need any models. We're going to give each player basically 2 squads of 10 guys. They're going to be armed with basically how the units should be configured. They're going to get a second lieutenant. They're going to get 1 special team. It might be a machine gun, like a 30 cal machine gun. It might be a sniper team. It might be something special. And then they're going to get maybe a mortar team. Then they're going to get a vehicle. And so they're going to have each player will have like basically with that it'll be like 5 order dice. And then we're going to have enough room for like 6 players on the table. So we're going to end up featuring like some special terrain, and we'll have a few extra special rules in there to kind of feature that game. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I also picked up, and while this is not a Warlord product, it's a Rubicon model. Rubicon is another manufacturer of models, and I think I've talked before on the podcast. With World War II stuff, you don't have to. there's lots of games out there. You don't have to stick with bolt action. And while I don't think a Tiger tank is very effective in bolt action, it's just freaking cool. And Rubicon makes great models. So I got the Rubicon Tiger 1. I'm looking forward to building this thing. I'm going to do a little size comparison with it when I get it done, compared to some Shermans and other things. I'll paint it up, match my army. Maybe we'll get it out for a big Tank Wars game or something like that someday. But otherwise, I don't really see using it that often in bolt action. It's just, you know, most bolt action games are like 1,000 points. This thing's going to be like 500 points. It's half your force. And if there's not a lot of enemy armor on the table, like if it's all and if you're replacing it with an all infantry force, it doesn't do anything really for you. It just gives you some machine gun fire and is pretty well protected. So. Yeah, just super cool though. I can't. I'm a little kid here. It's gonna be my big toy. So yeah, they've got water slides that are included with it. Lots of cool stuff. Like I said, Rubicon makes great alternate World War II models in the 1/56 scale that bolt action uses. Really looking forward. They got a Opal Blitz that's coming in plastic. I'm really looking forward for that model too. Okay, last little bit here. Last stretch, guys. I've got a couple of hobby things that I've also purchased recently. So I think I showed off the zombies last time that I'm going to do for the Warhammer intro game that's going to be at Gamehole Con. Well, I've also got some. I'm going to do for the first time ever. I'm going to try my hand at dipping an army, basically dipping those zombies and seeing how they come out. And I've got this quick shade from Army Painter, and it's a strong tone, so I'm going to be using that. So expect a review at some point, whether someplace either on the podcast or the video feed, on my thoughts about this quick shade and how it either helped or hindered my speed painting of the zombies. So we're going to be kind of doing that as a group here locally, as a kind of the club too, putting that table together. So that's going to be a fun project. Okay, last thing. All right. Still in the box. So I've got a hot wire foam factory. Basically, this is a plug, some spare wires, a video, totes other products, and gives you some instructions on how you can use them, some other stuff. So I have a foam knife. I'm going to take this box, just set it to the side now. Okay, I have a normal, like, the hot wire phone knife. It's nice. It's okay. It does what it does. But what I've struggled with is, like, if I want to do Elvish Towers and I want to get that nice kind of arc on them and stuff, it's really tough to do it with that particular knife. So I wanted to get something a little different. And this thing's got a little wing nut here, so you can adjust this. And this will have a wire that runs from here to a little screw in the bottom of the table that you connect it to. And then you plug it in and you're able to cut foam. And it's basically, well, I've got a much bigger cutting blade on this. So I can really do some interesting stuff. And it's really meant for scrolling. So I can cut my line and I can take my time and I should get a nice straight cut. We'll see how it works. I'm definitely looking forward to using this soon. I showed it to my buddy Dustin, who was here for a Battlefield Gothic game a couple days ago. He was pretty excited as well to see it. He's like, "What is that?" And then once we realized what it was, and we talked about it for a little bit, he's like, "Oh, that thing looks cool. I'm looking forward to giving that a try as well." So yeah, we're gonna give it a try. We're gonna use it. I'm sure we're going to need to make some new terrain for Merry Mayhem this year because of Age of Sigmar and various other things we're going to start including maybe in Mayhem this year. So yeah, this is going to be a great tool. I think it's going to be exciting to have and use in the terrain manufacturing. So couple that with my airbrush, and this hopefully be one of the handiest things I've bought in a while because for a terrain manufacturer. Okay, so that, folks, is the show. I hope you enjoyed checking out all the cool stuff I've been getting. Looking forward to getting it all on the table and doing some reviews of these products for you, and letting you know if they're cool or if they stink. You know, we'll be honest. We're not paid, or there's no sponsors here helping us out, so we'll give you an honest opinion on what we think of all the products. I certainly don't buy things though because I'm not interested, or I don't think there's a coolness factor to them, or I haven't done a little research. So, I think most of the time everything will be a very positive review. All right, folks. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace out.